It started like any other royal gathering. Polished shoes, medals gleaming, cameras flashing from a respectful distance. But no one expected the wave of emotion that would ripple through Buckingham Palace on this day. As the 80th anniversary of VE Day was set in motion, bringing the monarchy together in a show of unity and remembrance, it was a quiet, powerful exchange behind closed doors that stole the air from the room. Princess Anne, the ever-steady rock of the royal family, stepped forward with words that would strike like lightning. Prince William, known for his composure and strength, stood tall until he heard what she had to say. In a voice low and steady, Anne revealed the king's private and most heartfelt wish. It wasn't a command or a policy shift or even a personal grievance. It was a father's last raw desire, simple but devastating in its weight. She said, "Charles wants just one thing before his health declines further. One wish that he's clung to with quiet desperation as the shadows of illness continue to gather. He wants his family back together. No PR campaigns, no Netflix documentaries, no drawn-out legal threats. Just his sons, together, in peace." It was in that moment, as those words sank into the ornate silence of the palace chamber, that something broke in Prince William. His eyes welled up, not from weakness, but from the crushing truth of what had been lost, and what might never return. The room shifted. Even the courtiers stopped in their tracks, because for once, the politics fell away. What was left was just a father, a brother, and a son, all caught in a web of pride, pain, and lost time. Princess Anne looked at William, her own face unreadable, and added that the king has confided in her, not as a princess, but as his sister. Charles had told her in private, on one of his better days during treatment, that he's not afraid of death. He's afraid of leaving behind a family that never healed, and that if the last chapter of his reign ends with silence between his sons, then no crown or throne would make that legacy worth remembering. William, still standing, clenched his jaw. His body didn't move, but his eyes did. They darted away for just a second. That was all it took. Because in that second, the world saw the weight he's been carrying, the responsibility, the unspoken grief. The years of tension with Harry that have boiled under the surface, with every snub, every leaked interview, every cold glance across pews at royal funerals. William was supposed to be the unshakable heir, the one who held it all together. But here he was, barely breathing as the memory of simpler days played like a flickering reel in his mind. Days when he and Harry laughed in the gardens, snuck snacks during royal banquets, rolled their eyes during long speeches, or comforted each other after Diana died. But that was before titles got heavy, before resentment calcified into silence, before the world watched two brothers drift so far apart they could no longer speak without lawyers in the room. And now here stood Anne, carrying the emotional will of a king, a dying king, who only wants his family mended before the clock runs out. The timing of this revelation was no accident. It came days after Prince Harry's BBC interview, where he claimed to still love his father, but couldn't understand the choices being made. He blamed Charles for his lack of security, for the silence, for letting the firm dictate their relationship. And then, in what many saw as a guilt-laced blow, Harry remarked, "Life is precious. I don't know how long my father has." The words, though perhaps well-intended, landed like a slap. Insiders say the king was deeply hurt, not because of the comment itself, but because of the hypocrisy. How could someone claim to want peace while stirring headlines that cast his own father as negligent, even cold? William saw the same interview, and what stung most wasn't the accusations. It was how public they were, how avoidable, how selfish. But now, with Anne's voice still ringing in his ears, even William had to ask himself, was holding the line worth it? Was the silence worth it? What if their father really didn't have much time? What if all the rage, all the pride, all the protocol ended with 3 words too late? "I forgive you." Behind closed doors, there's a storm brewing. Senior aides are aware of the king's wish. Some support it. Others, wary of PR fallout and precedent, do not. Charles, after all, is not just a father. He is a monarch, bound by constitutional roles. His hands are tied in ways Harry refuses to understand. He cannot bend justice or security laws for personal reasons, even if it breaks his heart. But it doesn't mean he doesn't want to. And that's what William finally saw that day. Not the king, not the monarch, but his dad, frail, vulnerable, human. William reportedly left that meeting without a word, just nodded, eyes still red, and walked slowly down the corridor where the portraits of ancestors lined the walls. Men who ruled, men who warred, men who died with secrets buried deep in their hearts. He thought about what legacy he'd leave behind, and for the first time in a long time, he wondered if his father's one wish might become his too. But reconciliation is a two-way street. While Charles prays quietly for peace and William weighs his pride against the ticking clock, the ball still sits at Harry's feet. The world is watching. Will he drop another podcast bombshell? Or will he, for once, come home not for a camera, but for his family? Insiders are skeptical. The wounds are deep, the damage layered. But Princess Anne's message wasn't about logistics. It wasn't about press optics. It was about love. Pure, raw, inconvenient love. And as this story unfolds, quietly behind palace gates, but thunderously in the hearts of those who still believe in the power of forgiveness, one truth becomes clearer by the day. The king's greatest legacy won't be the crown he wore, the speeches he gave, or the laws he signed. It will be the family he either saved or lost. And that legacy now rests in the hands of two brothers standing on opposite sides of a silence that has lasted too long. Whether that silence is finally broken, we'll all have to wait and see.